Hi, I'm Amelia Kohm. I work with data viz for nonprofits. So I help organizations to quickly grasp their data, improve their work, and show their impact. I do that by custom designing interactive data dashboards, as well as creating charts, maps, and graphs for presentations, reports, social media, and websites. I have a master's degree in social work, and I originally worked in philanthropy. So I worked both for the Illinois Humanities Council and the Sears Roebuck Foundation. And then after that work, I started to get into research. I worked at Chapin Hall, which is a research center at the University of Chicago. And that's where I spent most of my career as a researcher. And while I was there, I got my PhD in social policy. So yes, from one perspective or another, I've been in the nonprofit sector, sort of supporting and researching social services, mostly for children and families, prior to doing data visualization. Chapin Hall does applied research, so we work directly with organizations serving children and families, both governmental organizations and private ones. And I kind of, in every study I was on, I had kind of the same experience over and over, which is that people in those organizations, they might talk a good game about data, because of course we all have to in order to get funding. And but when you got down to it, they really didn't know that much about data. Of course, they were concerned about children and families. They had expertise in their own areas, but they didn't get into the game to do data analysis for obvious reasons. But living in the world we live in, we all have to deal with data. So I just began to feel like there has to be a better way for non-data people to extract meaningful information out of their data. And that's when I started getting interested in visualizing data, because we all understand the world better through our visual systems than we do through sort of any other sense. Our brains kind of glitch on words and numbers, but if you translate words and numbers into visual cues like length, color, size, position, we do a lot better. So I got training in data visualization. I learned sort of both the theory and the practice of data visualization. And I started doing it in my research center, which of course dealt with data all the time. There was 100 researchers, but no one had the skill set. So I started doing that, but I was doing that with the idea that I would start taking on clients on the side, my own clients, because I always wanted to work for myself. So it was this sort of beautiful, natural progression where I just kept over time, over a period of about 3 years, doing less research and more data visualization. And then a few years ago, I just went out totally on my own. I worked with an organization that supports women with going through periods of domestic abuse. And the organization collects data on the progression of their clients through 5 stages of therapy. So it kind of like, you can think of the stages as the lowest to the highest, they from crisis to thriving. So their clients enter therapy at different stages, and the progression is not linear. They kind of, they may progress and then regress. That's very common. And this organization wanted to see how the changes in their clients' life circumstances might relate to changes in their stages of therapy. And I actually worked with an ACN member, Deborah Nathan-Chun, who was actually my client. It was one of her clients. So, ACN is great for me because I sometimes work with consultants. So just as an aside, consultants doing strategic planning or helping organizations with anything that contains data, often those consultants don't have my skill set. But if they're doing, for example, strategic planning, it's great for them to leave their project with a interactive data dashboard. So the organization, now they've set all these great goals and they have plans for how they're going to reach the goals, but how are they going to track their progress? So anyway, so I worked with Deborah on this, and we really went back and forth, but what we ended up with is a series of charts that shows clients' journeys through these different stages. But what the charts also do that's really cool is they use icons to show different common life circumstances that may correspond to changes in therapeutic stages, such as moving to a new home, or getting a job, or getting a protection order. So we visualized sort of their pathways with these icons, and it allowed the organization to understand for themselves, as well as show others, what these journeys look like and how their therapeutic stages correspond to these life circumstances. So it gave them a lot of insight, sort of a lot of food for thought for how they were going to plan going forward. I love my job. I think it's the best job I've ever had. I loved the jobs when I was working for other organizations, but I really love working for myself, and particularly in data visualization. I think of data visualization as sort of like one of those odd couples, those mismatched couples. So one partner is expressive and a great storyteller, and the other is introverted and sticks to the facts. So to make great charts, maps, and graphs, of course, you kind of have to channel both of these partners in this kind of odd couple, both the artist and the analyst. And that's really a sweet spot for me. I feel like I have both the artist and the analyst in me. So I feel really lucky to have found this job that, merges both sides of me. I also just love working on a variety of issues. When I was a researcher, of course, I worked in 5-year studies, so I got really deep into certain areas. But by working, with 5 or 6 clients at any one time, I'm working on a lot of different issues, and I really like that. I like the variety of that, and just meeting really interesting people. And the other part of my job that I really like is sort of sharing my passion and my knowledge with others. I do this I have a blog where I send out a 60-second data tip to nonprofits who've signed up for my blog. I also post them on LinkedIn and on my website. So I find that really, really fun. And I also conduct workshops periodically throughout the year in data viz. So that I enjoy that as well. I got involved with ACN through a project that I did with Carol White and Emily Taylor. ACN was doing a big survey of members, and ACN wanted to, really draw out lessons from that survey. So Carol contacted me and said, we could really use some data visualization as part of this. And so the 3 of us worked on that, and we presented our results. And through that process, I just thought, oh, this is a great organization. I should become a member. I like the idea of being part of a committee that got members in front of nonprofits, because of course those are our clients. So I joined it, and of course, the danger of joining a committee is that maybe they're going to make you the chair at some point. But no, I was happy to become the chair. We were, Emily was ready to transition, and we were in a meeting, and I think it was Paul Cox's first meeting. Paul and I kind of hit it off in just this one meeting. And I know Emily turned to me at some point and asked if I would be a chair. And I said, I'll do it if Paul does it, which is I felt like I was really putting myself out there, because here's this guy I don't even know. And Paul said, I was just going to say the same thing about Amelia. So anyway, it's been great working with Paul. I really hope to meet him in person someday soon in the next year. He has this rock band that I really want to go see. When Paul Cox and I began as chairs of the Nonprofit Relations Committee, we just wanted to be laser focused on a simple mission. With ACN, just like any professional association, it's, it sort of takes a back burner position in all of our lives, right? Because of course, number one is our own business. So we wanted to have just like a highly efficient committee that had a specific purpose, that was achievable, that served the mission of ACN, and so that members will feel like their time was well spent. We're also really clear on not having too many meetings, not having meetings go over, they're all exactly an hour. So members felt like, this is worth my time. No one's wasting my time. We're accomplishing something. So anyway, our very specific mission is to form partnerships with nonprofit associations, mutually beneficial partnerships, so that we get more of our members in front of more nonprofits. And then we bring our knowledge, our wealth of knowledge as consultants in different areas to nonprofits. We first worked on forming a toolkit so that when we are reaching out to nonprofit associations, we have all the sort of information in our fingertips for making these partnerships. And now we're in the process of using that tooltip to form more partnerships. And I feel like we've already been quite successful. We have a partnership with Forefront. We have a partnership with the Nonprofit Learning Lab, and we're on the verge of starting work on forming partnerships with some national organizations. Well, Nonprofit Learning Lab is a national organization, but a couple other national organizations that are so that we can get our members in front of even more nonprofits. I've also worked with Gordon Mayer, who's been a client through one of his clients, and then Emily and Carol, and Don Rock. I love working with Don, and I'm really excited that we have some new members to our committee, because particularly people who aren't in Chicago, that we can get to know better. I'm excited about this new phase of ACN, where we're becoming sort of more of a national organization. I love being a sole practitioner because, I love the lack of bureaucracy, but you need colleagues, you need people to bounce ideas off of. You certainly need people to refer business to you. And I feel like ACN kind of fills in that spot for me. And I think the best way to be involved in ACN is to be a member of a committee. That's how you get to know other people. I mean, the networking events, both in person and online, are great. They're fine, particularly if you're like really good at networking. I'm not. But the way you really get to know people is by serving on a committee with them. And it's great. You're advancing the organization and advancing your own career at the same time. I have found some of the programming really helpful. Even like a programming I was on the panel for. So through our partnership with Forefront, we have a series called Ask a Consultant. And I was on a panel about, I think it was data presentation. And that was really great. I mean, obviously it was great for me to talk about my work, but it also helped me learn about other members at ACN doing, similar sort of adjacent work to mine, and make some connections that way. So that was a program I really liked, but other programming has been great too. I, just like a lot of consultants, I came to my business with a lot of knowledge about what I do, but I didn't have a lot of knowledge about being a consultant, just all the, administrative stuff about contracts and invoices and, just all of that, marketing. So that's where, ACN really comes in and provides a lot of information, both on the website and through programs. My top tip is to join a committee. That's right. I feel like, if part of the purpose in joining ACN is for you to make connections. The best way to make connections is through being a member of a committee. Northern Michigan. Nothing, I like tea. People who don't return emails. Popcorn. Richard Russo, my favorite writer. My mother. Oh, she's the wisest, smartest person I've ever met, and I'm lucky enough to be her daughter.